What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big Johnny G for Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming.
Shut up and sit down.
Hey, welcome to this Midday Monologue Monday, and I'm your buddy Big Johnny G, and I like to talk about things. I can run my damn mouth, can't I? I've been doing it for 7 years on this channel. 7 years! And finding things to talk about. And what I want to talk about today is my absolute love, since childhood right up until today, of any board game that has a 3D environment built to it. You know what I mean? I mean, when I was a kid, I think the first time I encountered this was... it wasn't the original version. It was whatever updated version of the 60s or the 70s that I was playing when I was a kid, but the Game of Life. Because the Game of Life it had that edition when I was a kid that had hills on it and buildings on it. It popped. I use that word a lot, but it's true. It literally popped off of the board. I was like amazed, because before that it was all just flat boards, you know. It was like Monopoly. It was like Sorry. It was Chutes and Ladders, you know. It was like, wow, what's this? I love this. I really wish more companies did this. If it's just because of the added money, I guess I get it with the smaller publishers. I mean, that makes sense. I can't be a total D-bag and just say, I don't care. Give me what I want, no matter what it costs you. You know, you can't do that. But with the larger companies now, when we're talking the bigger companies out there, I feel like they can afford to do this. I do. And it's more than just, you know, some people just think that it's just eye-catcher. You know, it's just a little bit of kitsch. There on the board because it doesn't help or mean anything to the game. But I disagree. I think that the more enjoyment you have, for whatever the reason is, even if it's just because it's 3D buildings on a board, whatever reason you're having more fun playing that game, they need to give you more of. Because obviously that means you're going to play the game more. You're going to introduce more people to the game. You're going to play the game out. You're going to lose components to it. You're going to have to buy another one, so you make new editions of it. And then it gets really popular, you reskin it. So yeah, I think the bigger, larger companies can afford to do this, but I mean, I'm not their accountant, so I don't know this for sure. Dark Tower, or the Return of Dark Tower as well, was another great example. The original Dark Tower had each kingdom had those little buildings that you put on it. That looked great. It leapt off of the board. It made the board so, well, of course it had the 3D tower, the giant, tower growing there. But it gave the game an extra level of life that games without that don't have. It is more than attention grabbing. It's like, I also remember with, I have it right there. I don't have to remember. I'm looking at it right there. The Dragonlance board game. Been out of print for a long time. I really wish that would get reissued. Great. You know, you had the 3D the miniature dragon pieces for the armies, but you had the poker chips to raise your dragon up. So the dragons are all at a particular height level because you're dealing with flying combat. That was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. The tower in the center was great. You had to go underneath you couldn't be too high. You had to go underneath the banners to get in there, then fly back up to get to the top of the tower to get the lance. It was freaking great. Loved it. Games like this, you see, people remember a lot more fondly than telling you about some game of Payday. Or Sorry. You know what? Those probably weren't the first ones. Now that I think about it, my age category, wouldn't it have been Operation? I would count that as a 3D game, but it was like an inverted 3D. That's why I didn't think of it right away, because it's like an inverted 3D game, right? Because you got to go in. You're digging down into to play the game. Not like Life, where things are coming up and you're driving around them, right? So that's why I didn't think about that. But yeah, I would count that as a 3D game. Sure. Yeah, definitely would. You know, and then the 80s ended with Hero Quest. I mean, a board game, Dungeons and Dragons, which other than the game Dungeon, which originally wasn't even a Dungeons and Dragons game, even though it was published by TSR, the original game was not a board game translation of Dungeons and Dragons. So Hero Quest came out. It was like not only one of the first real D&D feeling flat board games out there, but it had terrain pieces. I mean, most D&D players I knew growing up didn't even play with terrain pieces. They played with some miniatures and graph paper. But, back then there wasn't a lot of choices back in the 70s and 80s for what we wanted a table build. There wasn't a lot of choices. So when Hero Quest came out, it was like, oh my God, you got tables and chairs and doors, and this is great. Wow, chests, treasure chests. But nowadays we don't see a lot of that at all anymore. Yeah, Hero Quest has been reissued and it's the same. The pieces are all plastic now, so they last longer than the cardboard ones did at the original printing run. And Dark Tower has been reissued as Return to Dark Tower, and that still utilizes a lot of 3D elements and pieces and buildings and everything like the original game. Another classic I forgot, right? Mousetrap. How could I forget Mousetrap? Which is still out there, still available. Nothing new or changed about it that I've seen. It's never even been reskinned. Why don't they reskin that as something? You could reskin that as like a kid's superhero game or something. I don't know. But, I really wish we would see more of these board game companies spending a little extra scratch to give us some 3D environments and elements to sit on the table on their board game. It'd be nice. It does. It pops out. We remember it. We talk about it. Nowadays, we show pictures of it. We post it. That's free advertising. Come on. So what games that are out there right now that are not 3D element games do you think would benefit if like a special edition came out that had pieces to it? Like let's say Imperial Assault. What if they came out with a new deluxe edition of Imperial Assault that came with 3D pieces for the... you can get these on Etsy, but, official from the company, right? Let's say little consoles and stuff, and better plastic doors, things like that. Why can't a company do that? Why can't a company say, look, we have this, let's reissue a deluxe edition of it. This way it's limited print. They don't got to worry about overprinting, I guess, hopefully. And limited print puts a demand on it, makes it that special edition, collector's edition kind of thing going on, right? I want this. I want this so bad. I want so many games, wherever it's possible with any game, that they can add this 3D element to it. Please give us that special edition. It's so much fun, and it looks pretty. And the better, I've said this before in other videos, the better looking a game is, the more you enjoy looking at a game. Besides playing it, besides the experience playing it, the more you like looking at a game on the table, the more likelihood that game is going to get played. And therefore, show it off to other people and experienced and loved and enjoyed. Yeah, what games do you think should be 3D'd? Is that a word, 3D'd? I will say that for now. Yeah, what games do you think should be 3D? Put that in the comment. I'm dying to know. I'm dying to find out what games, whether you've thought about it, or maybe I just put the seed in your head now. Whatever it is, put it down in the comments and let us know. Let us know what you're thinking. What game, huh? What game should have some 3D elements? Yeah, it makes games so much fun.